What up, peeps and peepettes? MorbTron here with some more Destiny 2, and we're at the farm. So Bungie has the farm open up for an hour. I'm recording this during that hour, of course, because, well, I'm here. So we're going to take a quick look at the farm and kind of go exploring, and we'll talk about some Destiny 2 stuff. So right now I'm on the roof of one of the buildings that's connected to the old-fashioned mill here with the river, which is pretty neat. This place looks beautiful. And there's the shard of the Traveler, the very, very large shard of the Traveler, where I believe, I'm going to assume that's where we get at least the first bit of our power back. So there's a bunch of these like windmills, these really old school. You can actually, these are actual windmills that you can see IRL that help power the farm. You kind of see they go on for quite a while. There's a jump ship over there. Oh, I fell down, which is fine because this will kind of bring us back to where I wanted to go. Now, when you play soccer over here, or football, depending on what part of the world you live in, like it makes noise and beeps and all that stuff, which is kind of cool. You can't go past this gate. It lets you a little bit, but you end up dying. But we'll go back up on top of this building here, because there's more stuff to be seen. So, oh, I failed. So to get up there, you kind of just jump on this mill here. Wait for that to come around. And then we're gonna walk across these wires. Leap. This kind of shows, I think that's probably where the Eververse is going to be, because I believe that is the Eververse logo. Because Bungie needs those microtransactions. As far as where other vendors go, I mean, it's going to be fairly obvious where the Cryptarch's going to be. I'll kind of show you that in a minute. But up here, I don't know if anything's going to be up here other than just like exploring stuff. So, see, there's some radar dishes there. There's a bigger radar dome there. I'm just making some beeps and boops. There's nothing to activate so far that I've seen. However, that will change. Either that or I just can't find them. There's always stuff to activate in the social space. Alright, so now we're on this wire. We're going to go over to this building, which seems to be where most of the people are hanging out. And you got a cool fountain down there, and that's where the Cryptarch's going to be. That's a Cryptarch logo down there, plus their decryption technology where they stick the engrams, and then they have a computer that tells you what it is, I'm assuming. Of course, we're just going to go over there and hold X. But anyway, we're going to continue exploring over here. There's more radar dishes where a lot of people are hanging out. I fall down this hole? Nope, I sure don't. This looks like it's some sort of missile launching platform. There are a couple pallets of missiles down in the ground. So that might be a thing. Like if the farm ever comes into attack, somehow they're loaded into that. Who knows? You really can't go back into this forest too much. There's just invisible walls. But what I thought was interesting is actually in this barn. Can we go down? Yep, we can go down in here. There's two halves to this partially assembled very large spacecraft. So you kind of see here, that's the top part of the fuselage. And there's its massive, massive rocket engine. But you can see here, on the other side too, it looks like there's where there'd be more like wing structure attached right there, and it's just not there. I only assume that because it's not all finished and white and pretty looking right there, and it looks like that's an attaching point for another piece of a wing. It's got some fairly large, what appear to be cannons, and then there's all of the inner workings of the fuselage. That's kind of neat. Maybe someone on the farm is trying to restore some very, very large, very powerful Golden Age ship. Looks like here are more parts of it, which actually these might attach to where, these definitely attach to where I pointed out. So, right there, kind of looks like a socket or that sticky outy bit right there. So maybe they're not wings, they're just different rocket thrusters. Kind of a directional rocket. That's definitely looks like that's what that is. Those little fireworks shoot off when anybody, sorry, I cannot words, makes a goal. Yeah, it looks like they both have those sockets. And these things, I think, are some sort of surveillance drone. Or something. Maybe some missiles or something can be mounted on them, but they look like drones. Like some sort of very large scale, either surveillance drone or attack drone if weapons can be fitted to them. There's a lot more of them in storage over here. There's some Sparrow parts and Sparrows in storage over here. So we got some Suros crates. So maybe some weapons are being manufactured and stored here as well. I believe there's definitely going to be a vendor here. So we got rocket launchers, sniper rifles, the rocket launcher. But I think there's definitely going to be a vendor right there. There might be one there. I don't know about any of these other stalls or back here. Maybe there will be one back here. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not certain. And these are these huge missiles, so maybe these would be fitted to the drones, and these would be fitted to that massive mounted platform up top. Don't really know for sure. There are some more buildings in here that you really can't go inside of yet. Like, you can go inside this one. There's some more Sparrow parts here. More Sparrows being held up. Probably going to be someone hanging out in here. I can only assume. And then over here, we have kind of another neat social space. So it looks like they're filling up water here. You got this hose that goes all the way down into the water. Yep, all the way down in there. Okay, I didn't die. And it looks like they're possibly filling up these canisters full of water. Then we got this neat little area here. We got this bonfire patio thing. Really neat looking. These cushions seem like they've seen better days. They're kind of tattered and maybe moldy. And I was really wishing you could sit down on this bench. Can't, but you can get a good view. Water looks very, very good. So, I'm not sure how, the beta's been going on the PS4. I've noticed from a lot of content creators that people have been error coded a lot, like out of matches or entire fire teams, and well, basically everybody in a crucible match phases out of the same instance as a person, and they're kind of left alone there with a completely empty battle area. I haven't experienced that on the Xbox, so I don't know if it's something limited to a certain area. Oh, the soccer ball got way over here. If it's something limited to a certain area, or if it's something limited to the PS4 itself, in which case I do hope they get it sorted out, because that would totally suck if that continued on to the actual game. But no issues like that on Xbox, so that's good. We got some Crucible bots. Maybe Shax will be hanging out here, or one of the Crucible reps, if not Shax. But we know Shax is at least in the first mission, and I don't really see a reason as to why they would hire a voice actor to just be in a tiny bit of the first mission and then kill the character off, because Shax is fairly important. Both in the actual game and in the lore. He's a very, very important character. So I would say nearly as important, if not more important, than any of the Vanguard reps. So looks like maybe ships land here. It's hard to say. Maybe when people come into the farm, we'll see their ships land here. Somebody just jumped off and died, I'm assuming. Yeah, you can jump off here, but as soon as you hit the water, you die. Yeah, it's kind of the whole farm. So, figured I'd take some time here to chat about what my opinions are about the classes in the beta, and maybe some changes that they will make, hopefully, before the actual game comes out. So I came into the beta wanting to main a hunter for Destiny 2. As a hunter was my main in Destiny 1 for quite a while. My first character on Destiny was a warlock, and I didn't really get into too much Titan play until year 3. Here we go. I scored a goal. So I came into the beta. My first character that I made in the beta was a hunter, and Arcstrider seemed good right away. It plays well in PvE. It does fair amounts of damage. You can take out large groups of enemies very quickly. I think it's a very well balanced super for the PvE environment, as far as a more close range melee, taking out large groups of small enemies super goes. Golden Gun, however, Gunslinger, is incredibly underpowered in PvE. The regular Cabal soldiers, you cannot kill them with one Golden Gun shot. So, yeah, you get 6 shots with the one kind of talent setup that they gave us. But you can only kill, at most, 3 things. You might be able to kill 6 if you take out the space puppies or the snipers, or maybe, once the other enemy races come more into play, you can take out more of them. But still, I don't think it does enough damage. And when I did kill those creatures, enemies, with my Golden Gun, I generated at most 1 or 2 orbs. And that is it. So I'm really, really hoping that they buff Golden Gun, buff Gunslinger, especially in PvE, but also in PvP. And the reason why I say also in PvP is that the super runs out incredibly quick. So there are other roaming supers out there, and we'll bring up kind of the closest thing that we had to it in the beta, which is Dawnblade, where you could take out a whole team with Dawnblade. And it'd be fairly easy as long as nobody like team shot you down once they saw you coming or once they saw that you popped your super. Golden Gun, on the other hand, it doesn't give you any increased armor, which is fine because, you know, you're only shooting projectiles that travel very, very quickly. So I think that, you know, getting extra armor because of, you know, when popping your super is would be a little bit overpowered. But I think they need to increase the time that the super drains with the 6 shots by at least double. Just so you have the opportunity to line up your shots a little bit better. And you don't feel like you have to just spam all 6 shots immediately. Because that kind of seemed a little bit underpowered. Now, as far as the class ability goes, the Hunter class ability, I think, is incredibly powerful in both PvE and PvP. For both its evasive capabilities and reloading your weaponry and taking your melee off cooldown, all that stuff, it's really, really good. But I think Gunslinger, they need to at least double the amount of time it takes for the super to drain. And also, Arc Strider in PvP, I think they need to increase the base movement speed of the Hunter while the super is going, just so it is easier to close the gap on people. That kind of goes for any melee range super. So, not so much on the Warlock, because the Warlocks don't need it, because both of their supers right now have ranged capabilities, which makes them incredibly powerful. But I would say both Striker and Sentinel, for the Titan, should have this buff as well, where your base movement speed is increased by a certain amount, just so you can close the gap a little bit faster. And then I'll bring up the Titan as well. I think Striker itself needs to be looked at a little bit as well. I think the amount of time that the super remains active needs to be reduced. Not as bad as Golden Gun is currently, but I think that it being the only roaming super so far, that you can get a kill on activation of the super. Meaning, you know, you hit your buttons and you slam immediately, and then you can run around and slam some more, shoulder charge people, all the other stuff. That being able to get a kill on activation and not having a very long animation on activation makes that super incredibly powerful in PvP, in the Crucible. So decreasing the amount of time that super has to remain active after that, I think is something that needs to happen. And now, I'm not anyway saying that they should remove, you know, being able to get a kill on activation, because that would completely change the way that strikers play, and I don't think that needs to be changed. But definitely decreasing the amount of time that super remains active, I think would be a good thing and kind of balance it out. Because right now they can run across the entire map and then some before the super runs out, and that's just not... It's not balanced, I think, in comparison to the other supers, especially since you can get a kill on activation, and the other supers you can't. So, Sentinel is in a very good place, I think. It's very well balanced. I think it clearly shows that Bungie put a lot of time into designing the Sentinel subclass. It plays very, very well in both PvE and PvP. Being able to place down an old school bubble I think is a very nice turn of events. It's going to solidify Titans in the raid environment as one of the most needed classes in raids. Simply because we don't have self-res warlocks anymore. So we don't have people that can risk it for the biscuit and die and come back to life. Hunters, we don't have shadow shot. So there's no tethering enemies. So I think right now, going into Destiny 2 with the current build, Titans would be a dominant force in raids. Just because you can have Sentinels pop their super to do damage with it, or you can have Sentinels pop their super in bubble form to protect the raid against things. And then the Titan class ability, very powerful, especially in PvP. What I have found is Titans will put up their shields in a corridor in a way that it blocks the corridor, so you either have to jump over or run through their shield. And if you run through an enemy Titan shield, you take a ton of damage. So that makes that ability incredibly powerful. Like imagine if you were doing some competitive and the enemy team, comprised of mostly Titans, completely blocked doorways with that ability, like near rugs, for instance. I actually ran into that once. We had to run through them to get into the room to disarm the bomb, and because we could have shot them. We didn't have any supers to pop because it was kind of early in the rounds. We could have sat there and shot them, but we didn't have enough time, so we had to basically run in there, throw grenades, and we had such low health that we just got taken out right away. So incredibly powerful, and with the right strat, it can be overpowered, really, in the right situation. But it's very situational, so I don't think it really needs to be addressed. As far as the Warlocks go, I think both of their supers play really, really well. Dawn Blade is incredibly fun in both Crucible and in PvE. Doesn't generate as much or as many orbs as Voidwalker does. But it plays really well. Can take out large groups of small enemies. And in general is just amazing. Now, Voidwalker, I believe, is going to be an incredibly popular subclass for raids because you can overcharge your grenades, and in the other kind of talent set for the subclass, you're able to consume your grenade energy to heal yourself. So I think that's going to be really, really powerful in the raid environment, or maybe in Nightfalls and more difficult PvE scenarios. Also, in the Strike, I've managed to get some 6 and even 7 orb Nova Bombs that you have to really, really group up enemies for, and it's extremely situational when you can pull it off. However, when you do, it really helps out your team. It basically completely charges your friend's supers if you can get a 6 or 7 or even 5 orb super off, and it does a ton of damage. It's massive. It does move really, really slow, so you have to kind of be closer to who you're trying to super or what you're trying to super. But when it does hit, then it spawns those little orbs that go out and kill other things that also generate orbs. It's a fun time. The grenades work really well. I think being able to overcharge your grenades with the current talent layout they gave us was really, really amazing and worked really well. And then the Warlock class ability, the Rift. I played mostly with Healing Rift than I did with Empowering Rift. I could see, having one Warlock in a raid team with Healing Rift and one with Empowering Rift, and maybe putting it up behind a Titan Shield and just going to town, ripping, the boss or adds apart, behind a shield. In Crucible, the Healing Shield, or the Healing Rift, definitely is a lot better than Empowered Rift, in my opinion. You're able to survive a lot more, and with his team shoddy, his team fighty environment as the Destiny 2 beta was, being able to keep yourself alive or defend an area with an overshield was amazing. It worked really, really well. Or being low health, getting chased around a corner, getting some distance between you and your enemy, popping down your Healing Rift, and turning around, turning on them, and taking them out. Because they assumed you're absolute, and they're going to take you out with just one hit. And then they come around a corner, and you're full health, with maybe a little bit of an overshield. Incredibly powerful. But that is going to be it for this episode. As you can probably hear in the background, my neighbors are mowing the lawn. Yay. Hooray. So that is going to be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, or if you just want to be amazing, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, you want to see more Destiny 2 content, please subscribe. If you have anything to say, if you have a differing opinion on anything I said, put in the comment section down below. Let's have a discussion. I'm open to discussions. You might even change my mind on something. Maybe you have more insight in something. Maybe I missed something in the farm. So now it's becoming daylight. So, and we're actually coming close to the last few minutes of the farm being open. So, put anything down in the comment section down below. I'd love to talk to you guys. If you haven't yet, you can follow me on Twitch. I do live stream, at least for now. So, I don't know. That might change depending on how things go. Not real certain. Nothing set in stone. But if I'm going to continue streaming, having more of a following would definitely help keep that alive. But yeah, have a good rest of the day, guys. I'll catch you all next time.